me down to sleep, I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again, I pray the Lord that I now I lay me down to sleep, I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again, I pray the Lord that I wake again.
Welcome to Dinner with the Coaches. I am one of the hosts, Nadira Lewis, and I have my amazing co-host with me, Thomas Taylor III.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
You are amazing, and I tell you, we always, if you guys can take a sneak peek at behind the scenes, the conversations before and after the recording, I'm telling you that it's just our sweet spot. We go over some amazing stuff. I think we should do like a little insiders thing or something like that. Give them a little bit. Yes. Oh my gosh. If you are watching us via YouTube, make sure you click the subscribe button, hit the notification button so that you can be notified every time we upload a video every Sunday at 7 p.m. If you are watching us via Facebook, make sure you click like and share if you've been blessed by the content that we have been giving each and every Sunday. Can you believe it is almost a year for us, Thomas?
Yeah. Time flies.
Wow. Amazing. So we have an amazing guest with us here. He's new on Dinner with the Coaches with us in our new form. He's been with us on one of our prior shows in the beginning when we first started. But Thomas, you want to go ahead and give us a little background story about who our guest is?
Yeah, of course. Again, welcome everybody to Dinner with the Coaches. We thank you for spending some time with us this evening. We're going to have a fun-filled ride this evening, everybody. Yeah. Well, tonight we have a good friend of ours, Mr. Garcia Gaither. Garcia actually is active duty in the Navy. Spent 28 years as a Navy officer. Has a lot of experience in our topic today, which is what are some of the reasons why most people can't make a decision, right? He also has a coaching company called Swell's Career Life Entrepreneur Coaching. So he has clients in coaching. I'm sure his experience of 28 years in the Navy in terms of having to make those critical decisions and helping people make those decisions. So I know he's going to have a wealth of information and knowledge for everybody this evening.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm excited. I can't wait for us to get into it. But if you are watching, let us know what I want each and every time. Every time you watch the broadcast, we always get excited. But let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Let us know exactly what state you're watching from and how Dinner with the Coaches has been helping you this far. We are coming up on a year anniversary, and I cannot wait until we are able to celebrate that. But in the meantime, we're going to play this video. Hey, Khadija. Hey, Alardra. Thank you for watching.
Hey, Khadija. Good evening.
We're getting ready to play a video, and the next person that you see when we come back will be that of our amazing guest, Mr. Coach Garcia Gaither. are back here with Dinner with the Coaches with our amazing special guest, Mr. Garcia Gaither, business development coach. Welcome back to Dinner with the Coaches.
Hello, aloha, everyone. How you guys doing? Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, awesome. Oh, yeah, you guys. I forgot to mention Garcia actually is in Hawaii right about now, which is, so what time is it out there, Garcia?
It is 1:06 p.m.
Wow.
Wow.
He's in that land flowing with milk and honey, everybody, out there in Hawaii. So, hey, we appreciate your time. Well, this evening, Garcia, we're going to talk about what are some reasons why most people can't make a decision. And I kind of started with, giving them a little bit about your history and your background, 28 years in the Navy, active duty. So I know you have a lot of experience from a, work perspective in terms of your occupation, as well as on your business side with coaching. So kind of what are some of your experiences when it comes to individuals being able to or not make a decision?
Wow, yeah, this is a great topic. Definitely in the military, like myself, I came into the military at the age of 17. And that in itself was a decision of going in and not knowing what to expect. But when you in the service, when you have to train, it comes a lot of competence over confidence. And what I mean by that, we go through drills and we different exercises and everything, not to get it perfect, not to get it right, because the plan is go exactly as planned. It's for what does not go as planned. And when you're more confident in your abilities to make a decision on the spot, it makes it where the mission overall is successful.
Wow. Nadira?
That's so precisely and so well put together. Like, I almost feel like I can't go behind him and say nothing. That was good. But I think making a decision really has to do with us having the ability to be clear on what it is that we want to do and where we want to go. You can't really make a decision if you're not clear in what direction you're going. If you don't know what direction you're going in, it's going to be kind of hard to know to be able to make a decision. But we still have to make a decision whether we're clear or not. Most of the time we just suffer from the decisions that we make, and we don't make better decisions until we're clear, is what I should say, until we're clear about which direction that we should go.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I say absolutely. Decision making is a skill. And we have to understand that skill plays a part in our life, whether on personal level or professional level. And it takes that maturity and that practice to really refine that skill. And it's not going to be perfect at the start, but if we don't train that muscle, then it goes away.
Yeah, I gave that example on one of my Facebook lives. It's like, when you go to the gym to gain muscle, you have to break that muscle down in order to build the muscle up, right? So to me, decision making is the same way. It's like, and I teach my team to make a decision, and I support them, right, wrong, or indifference. Why? Because that's one of people's biggest fears, is making a decision, right? So the more you make decisions like a muscle, the more you're able to make decisions. And inside of that, I talked about three things in terms of decision making. Research. Before you make that decision, are you taking the time to research the decision that you're trying to the decision that you're contemplating, the decision that you're trying to make? And then why? Like, why do you feel you need to make that decision? Because that's very, very, very important. Because we always talk about, if your why doesn't make you cry, then to kind of question your why. And then your belief, right? Do you believe in a decision that you're going to make? Now, why is that important? That's important because, a lot of times when people make decisions, they have almost like that buyer's remorse, right? But if you believe in the decision that you made, hopefully you counted the cost. Because somewhere in that book I read, it talks about, a good man counts the cost, right? And he don't build houses on sand, right? So what do you believe? So now if you believe in that decision, then you'll be in a better position not to second guess yourself, right? Maybe I wish I could have, I should have. Well, Garcia, let's talk about the decisions that you've seen on a daily basis that impact people's lives when you talk about making a decision in the military. Like, what has your experience been on that kind of sector?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, one thing we have to realize is a person that cannot make a decision or we're not making a decision has made a decision.
Mm.
So, as a leader, you have to sit here and know and be calculated and think about all the consequences that's associated with that. Because again, it would not be perfect, but in that situation and looking at the end goal, what is best for the overall of everyone, the collective, for the mission, your team, for yourself. And this correlates into the outside of it because military, you have families. Whether you have a wife, a spouse, kids, or your mother, father, sister, brother, you have to look at those decisions goes huge on how it correlates because of those decisions you have to make.
Wow. Yeah, that's deep. So how much do you think that fear, because nobody said it yet, how much do you think that fear plays into people's willingness to make a decision, right? It kind of just right on the border where fear is binding them and is holding them and is actually freezing them from making a decision.
Well, you know what? Fear is in my opinion, fear is one of the main parts. I think it breaks down to a few things. You look at fear, you look at failure. And if you hear a lot of people that we talk to as coaches and we drill down deep, their fear of the unknown, they're afraid to fail, and they can't make a decision because they haven't practiced that muscle to make that decision. And that's why they need us on their team, and they just don't realize that because that's another decision they have to make that they didn't even realize they needed.
Wow, he said something right there. Nadira, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think fear is huge in regards to making decision making because fear brings torment. And so fear reminds you of, especially if you think about you made bad decisions before or you didn't make the right decision before, it affects you having the ability to make the fear of not being able to make that right decision the next go around. And so what happens is we tend to become complacent and just allow a decision, like Garcia said, whether you make a decision or not, you've already made a decision. And so what we do is we go into default decision, which means we just don't do anything sometimes because of the fear of failure and not realizing that failure is a part of success, because failure teaches us the things what we shouldn't do. Whether it's in decision making, whether it's in whatever, we try so hard not to fail. I don't want to fail. I don't want to fail. I don't want to fall flat on my face, not realizing that a part of success is falling. How are you going to know what not to do? So even if you make a decision and it's not the right decision, it's okay. It's just training for what not to do the next time.
Yes, I totally agree. And on top of that, some people actually don't want to make the decision because of the next step of they made the right decision and what comes along with that, what's their next move, because they don't know what. And again, that's where coaches come in. That's where being a little bit more calculated, writing your goals and your decision of what the end goal is down, so you can be strategic on paper and not in your head. Because a lot of times when you're trying to put so much and do it in your head, you tend to stress yourself out and you leave gaps.
Yeah. So when we talk about, let's kind of dig a little bit deeper on that, fear aspect. So when you kind of look at that, and when you understand fear is a learned behavior, okay, that's okay. So now if fear is a learned behavior, then you attach fear of making the decision possibly could be a learned behavior as well, right? So do you feel that people are living their lives in their past or they're afraid of their future? What do you think, Garcia?
Well, I think it's a combination of both. I think a lot of times some people make I don't say they made a decision that wasn't best for their goal. And now they're in that rut of they're kind of gun shy for making the decision again because they don't want the same results that came from that decision. And as a result of that, they can't move forward. So a lot of times when they do decide, hey, I would like to, inquire on a coach, we can't help them because sometimes we're forward focused to help them reach their goals, but they have a lot of trauma that needs to go back and be fixed with counseling. And that's not our lane as coaches. So I'm not sitting here turning you away. I'm going to say, let's put a pause on it right now. Let's fix what you got going on from the past, some of the decisions you made that caused you that trauma. And then let's come back and re-adjourn to put you on your future goals.
Wow.
Yeah, that's deep. Coaching is a forward focus, because I think sometimes when individuals are afraid, kind of like you said a little while ago, to make a decision, not necessarily the right decision, because you don't really know a decision is right until after you make a decision, right? You hope it's right, based upon the data, the information, and research. Your spirit says it's right, but you don't really know until you actually make that decision, and then you can have some sort of, I call it plan, do, review, right? You plan something, you do it, and then you review it. So based upon that, just think about, are people really afraid, you mentioned a little while ago, of the accountability once that decision is made? And this is the reason why I'm asking this question. Why is it that most people feel that it's easier, and most people have more experience making a decision for somebody else versus themselves? I see you smiling over there. I see you smiling. Just think about that one. Yeah, what's your experience with that one? They can easily make a decision for somebody else or tell somebody else what they need to be doing, but kind of afraid to make a decision for themselves. Garcia?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So see that in the military, you see it out in the military, where it's easy when you're sitting here looking on a large scale for the greater good of the team. You got to make that decision. And sometimes you have to go on, I hate to say it like this, your best guess of what the end goal is. Your calculated decisions on all the things, all your team is brought to you. And at the end of the day, you have to make that final decision. But when it's on reversal, you're not doing it for a team. You're doing it for the team of you. It's a lot harder, because now it's a good evaluation piece again, where it's not affecting anybody else, it's affecting you. But you really have a clouded view of it, because it really does affect others. It's affect family or your future.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes where we need someone to help us uncloud that.
Yeah. Now that's deep again, and I agree, because that's where, to me, a coach comes into play, right? So I had a call with a potential client the other day, and I mentioned, when you look at, Venus and Serena, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Oprah Winfrey, and I said, do you know what they have in common? And they said, no. I said, they all have a coach, right? I said, now, think about this. I said, those of us who watch tennis, let's say, just take Serena Williams. When you watch Serena Williams play, when Serena messes up on the court, I said, where does the camera pan? He was like, I don't know, Tom. I said, think about it. If Serena has too many, faults, where does the camera go? I said, it pans to her coach. Why? Because they want to see the reaction from the coach, because the client who's on the court is not doing what they were taught to do. So the camera pans on the coach. So now we're talking about accountability. Why? Why is that important? Because, like you said earlier, most people, especially in our community, we don't do couches. We don't go and sit on somebody's couch. But unfortunately, we equate a couch to a coach. And the real difference is the accountability, because of what you said, is future focused. Right? So now, in the heat of the battle, meaning like on a court, the camera is looking at the coach, but really, it's really boils down to the client. They have to make the adjustment, because accountability is on them. So why do you think people shy away from that accountability, Garcia?
Well, I think the accountability piece, it's easy to retract back to the old habits. I don't say bad habits, old habits. And that old habit is not making that decision, or not following through with what the playbook that's been set by the coach.
Mm-hmm.
So they already know when they tend to drift off and do their own thing, the end result is not what they expected. And they already know the accountability is right there looking at them like, what are you doing? We talked about this. We planned it. And we plan to have a plan B to go because plan A may not go right. And you went to plan Z that wasn't even nowhere near that point yet.
Wow. So, Nadira, let's talk about some things where we can help our listener audience kind of overcome that fear of making decisions. Nadira, like, what do you think are some things that we can help our listening audience on? You know, just some tips on things that can help them make decisions. What do you think?
I think one, you have to understand that there's a process. There's a process between decision and outcome, right?
Okay.
And I think what happens is we always focus on the outcome, and we should as when we're thinking future, but we can't negate the process that is going to take in order to reach that outcome. And so, and there's things that we have to do in that process: personal development, business development, healing. It might be, there's some stuff that has to take place in the middle that will help us be able to get through it and be able to get to the other end. So to me, that's what I would think of, because everybody wants the instant results. We're in a microwave society where people want to be able to get in, they want to be able to see their vision, and they want to see it done in a matter of weeks, months, not realizing that there is a process that takes place, especially when you talk about being a coach. Because it takes time, because there are certain mindsets that they have to circle through in their mind in order to get. Like, I love the fact that when we were talking with Charmaine and she was talking about her health journey and how she focused on, even though the goal is to help you to eat healthy and have a better lifestyle. It's not even just about eating right. It's just about having a healthy lifestyle. Well, in order to get there, you have to start with the mindset first. And so people want instant results without the mindset. They don't want to go through the development that it takes. I heard Jim Rohn say this, and he said when you have $1 million, the best you hurry up and become a millionaire. Right. And I thought, and I had to listen to it over and over again. Talking about, having $1 million. If you have $1 million, it's best you become a millionaire. It's a mindset, because if not, then what's going to happen is you're going to have something prematurely, and it's going to destroy you before you get a chance to enjoy the benefits of what that money can do for you. The same way goes with it when it comes to expecting an outcome, whether it's in your health, whether it's in your business, whether it's in your family, your finances. There is a mindset that you have to develop in order to get to that outcome. If you're trying to get to that outcome with the same mindset, you're going to be circling around at the start line and wondering why I'm not at the finish line, because you never moved. You're still in the same position.
Yeah. Wow. That's deep. That was good. I have a little tidbit, and mine is, I'm an open book. And I pretty much govern my life this way, in terms of when I have to make a tough decision, that impacts, myself, my family, things of that nature. I start with the end in mind, right? So what are the pros and cons if I make this decision? What does the end look like? If the end is something that's manageable, then it's favorable that decision will be made, because then once that decision is made, I actually complete that task in reverse, right? So my mindset goes all the way to what the outcome looks like. Then once that decision is made, now I'll start to do things in place to have that outcome, if that makes sense. And what happens is, and I had plenty of conversations with a lot of people, and they say, Thomas, well, how do you do that? I said, well, how is because I expand my mind past my reality. And why is because most people don't think past what they see and or what they know. So there's something could be around the corner, but you never expanded your mind that it was a possibility that something was around the corner. And now when you make that decision, bam, now you're not ready. Right. So it's the stretch for me that always puts me in a position where I move by the Spirit, right? Like based upon what the Spirit tells me and how, and I expand to see what the totality of the decision looks like before the decision is made.
And Thomas, I just want to touch on that. You know, the why, I really connect with that why. And a lot of times we say that look at reverse engineer of the results you're looking for, but the why is going to help you to drive through those unknown spots. When you want to sit here and walk away or like shelter down, like, no, I'm not going to do it. That why, whether it's your family, whether it's monetary goals, that why is going to push you there. And sometimes you have to always be able to go back, revert back to look down on that piece of paper and say, what was that why? And hard as it may be, on the other side of that obstacle, you're going to look back and say, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was. It was just unknown to me. It was foreign.
Yeah. And I have a perfect example right before we're going to go to break in a minute. Myself and my wife in 1998, we was undecided, you know, born and raised in New York. She's from the Bronx. I'm from Harlem, kind of grew up on Long Island. And we got married in 95. So in 98, we wanted to make a decision. You know, we had our son in 97 and we was going back and forth whether or not we should move. Right? Well, why? Because we wanted our child at that time, we had one, to have a little bit better opportunities than we did. It wasn't easy though, because when she wanted to leave, I didn't want to leave. Then when I wanted to leave, then she didn't want to leave, man. Like you talk about people that are born and raised, man, like roots all in New York, you know what I mean? But we came to a mutual agreement, right? We kind of made it a little bit hard. Like we moved out of our apartment, moved in with my mother, moved in the basement with my mother. And I don't know if anybody's listening, but if you have two queens in a household, it's a wrap. Only but so much you can take, my good brothers. Only but so much. You talk about pressure. Whoa, it was a lot of pressure that was applied. But this decision was made to move to Atlanta, Georgia. And now when we look back, it was the best decision that we made. Right. But the why was for our children, right? Our son got a 4-year basketball scholarship to play the game he loves at Auburn Montgomery, graduated in 2020. Our daughter had her in 2000. She'll be graduating in May from Birmingham Southern with a psychology degree. I mean, so that was the driver. But again, we made that decision looking, 10, 20 years down the line. But the why was the driver, just like what you're saying, Garcia.
Outstanding. Love it.
Ms. Nadira, want to take us into look at you. Want to take us into commercial break? You still pondering on that one? It's true.
Wow.
I don't have a problem sharing. It's real though.
Wow, interesting. Well, we'll be back with more with Dinner with the Coaches with our special guest, Garcia Gaither.
That's a deal. Bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Ay, coming down like precipitation. I ain't never met a limitation. Hate applying my elimination. Gotta go to Google.
Stop. I want it. I got it. 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 I want it. I got it.
back here with Dinner with the Coaches with our special guest, Coach Garcia Gaither, business development coach. Welcome back. If this is your first time watching us, make sure you put hashtag replay and join us on this amazing topic on the importance and why people make decisions. Thomas?
Yeah, all right. Welcome back. Well, we're about to go a little bit deeper on this last segment here. What that means is, because we're dealing with the coaches, right? This is the platform. This is what we talk about. Let's talk about reasons people don't make a decision to acquire a coach, right? What have your experiences been with why people don't make that decision?
Thomas, I think and what I've been presented with is a lot of times it never came the idea of having a coach was totally out the norm. I'm gonna be open, because before being in the military 28 years and not even realizing that was even an option. When I relate coaches, I'm thinking about sports. I'm thinking about basketball, football, baseball, any kind of athletic thing. You hear the catchphrase, a coach, until you actually really put it into perspective. As you evolve throughout your career, life, and everything else, you see there are coaches out there, and you see the results of having a coach outside of just the sports arena. We've been hearing counselors and therapists for years, but now the catchphrase of and the whole theory of behind having a coach to reach your goals, it's a lot more popular, and I'm glad it is. But we just have to break away from making that wrong decision. And now I think we are at the day with like the pandemic and everything else, the decisions that individuals have made in the past, they see they need that help, and that's where coaches come in now even more.
Yeah, and that's interesting you say that, because I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and I kind of asked a question, and they said, "Nah, they really had a coach, but they had mentors," right? So a lot of individuals have mentors, but a coach is a little bit different than a mentor. You know what I mean? From an accountability standpoint in itself. And the other thing I think is, for some reason, and I had this conversation as well, people have a tough time investing in themselves. They'll invest in everything under the sun, like their lists will be long, but for some reason they're afraid to put themselves on their list. They have all types of other things they want to get, buy, and or invest in, other people on their list. But when it comes to themselves, it's like a push-pull, tug of war. Well, I'm not so sure, right? Again, and I think that kind of wraps right around to when you invest in yourself and when you bet on you, now there's some accountability, because now you're starting to put your money where your mouth is in terms of what you say you wanted. Ms. Nadira?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think a lot of the reason, and on the flip side, I think a lot of reason why people don't acquire coaches is because the majority of the time, us as coaches have not done a great job, being who we say we are, and so sometimes, especially in the African American community, we feel like once you burn me that one time, that's it, so it's a lot harder for us to recoup from being hurt or misled or being taken advantage of when you are already dealing with a coach that doesn't fulfill what you think they should have or what you thought or had expectations of. But I think now, I think that's why it's important in the beginning when you are coaching is to build the trust factor. Build the people will, when they know, like, and trust you, they, you can pretty much tell them to purchase this or to do this or to invest in themselves, and it's believable because they know, like, and trust you. If people don't know you, they don't really know whether or not they can trust you. So sometimes it's a lot difficult to kind of invest. It's not that they don't feel like some people do get the concept of investing in themselves. They don't even want to invest with you. Because they're afraid of, one, what they don't know, and two, because of fear of what happened. I might have had a prior coach, which most of when I deal with my clients, I always have clients that have been with other coaches, and that's always been the thing. I don't really have a lot of coaches that come that are new to coaching, period. Because I think it's a lot easier to deal with people that are new to coaching versus people that have already been coached, because they're already on the fence. When they don't have any idea of what coaching is, most of the time you're educating them on the process. And then most of the time you're starting out mentoring them, which is what I think is how Eric Thomas started. I heard him the other day, and he was talking about how when he started on YouTube, he was just giving. He wasn't thinking about what he was going to gain or what he was going to lose. He was just giving them information based on what he had. And then what happens is when you make good cookies and you're passing them out, eventually people start to want to know, how can I get this? And he gave the example of being in a Chinese restaurant. And it's like, if you ain't never tried orange chicken, when you go into the mall, they're always giving you a sample of the orange chicken, because they believe in what their product is. And I think what happens is when we do a better job at being able to communicate how we can help our potential clients, then it'll be a lot easier for them to relate and say, hey, you know what? I think I trust you because I've seen your work and I've seen what you've done. I know what you're capable of. Let me go ahead and let me invest not only my money, but my time into the things that I want.
That's good.
Yeah.
I totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree. I think it goes along the fact of when being totally transparent with your potential client or your client, letting them know that it's okay to have a coach. Coaches should have coaches. When you're looking for that, if a coach is telling you they don't have a coach and haven't spent that monetary value of development in themselves, I will have a question mark on that particular person.
Yeah,
and it makes it easier for us as a coach to sit here and develop a quality package because we know we've been through that same process with the end goal of delivering value to others, wanting to help them.
Yeah. So that kind of takes me to another area. Like if you're out there listening, and if you are a coach, right, or you have a desire to be a coach, I would recommend you to get certified as a coach, and then get out there and not be a secret coach, right? Because I think we do, like kind of like what Jira was saying, I think we do the public a disservice to offset those individuals who had bad experience with coaches. If we know our morals, values, and principles, if we know those things and we know that's not us, then now we have a duty, right? We have a duty to get out there and do more of these, do more shows, do more Facebook Live, do more Instagram, more TikTok, like all of these different things, just letting people know that you care, right? Because we always heard that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, and be okay with helping people and giving that content away, right? Not being just kind of, Facebook or Instagram junkies, but really having content that people actually can utilize and take from, and then kind of move themselves without even knowing you, right? Garcia, they may not even never know who you are, but they may be way back in the cut just listening to you on Facebook Live, on Instagram, a couple of minutes here and there, just sharing. I mean, Garcia, you got 28 years in the Navy. Like that experience alone in understanding how to move systems, how to move people, right? Discipline, like all these different variations that sometimes people out in the civilian world just kind of struggle with. But the thing is, if we say we're coaches, we know there's people right now that's listening to us and they suffering in silence.
Yes.
By themselves. They just suffering in silence. So there's something right now on this show tonight that we may say that kind of triggers and sparks somebody to do and be a little bit more, a little bit different. Give them that confidence, right? They can borrow our confidence until they get their own. Right. So what do you say about that, Garcia, in terms of not being a secret coach, right? And kind of giving content and going live, things of that nature.
Thomas, it goes back to decisions. One quote I got from Roy E. Disney said, "When your values are clear to you, making decisions become easier." And as a coach,
hold on. Say that again for the people in the back.
That
Hold on.
Yeah, that was good.
Say that again for the people in the back.
Okay. Roy E. Disney said, when your values are clear to you, making a decision becomes easier. And it's two sides to that, from the coaching standpoint of it, and from the person looking for a coach. When you understand your why, when you understand the values from a coach, you know it is your duty to help others.
Amen.
It is whether whatever your beliefs are, your duty is to take your experiences and your knowledge and share that. And you're not looking for the monetary, because that's going to come on the back end. It's a full circle. But as a person looking for help or support or accountability, that's the word, accountability, you know what the values and the end goal you need. And you have to have that same value of being honest with yourself to go seek that. And don't sit here and put a governor on your wallet because you don't want to spend the money for you.
Wow. Yeah, that's deep. That's deep, right? Because I think the money that's spent is an investment, right? Well, anytime you make an investment, you expect a return on that investment. Well, when you invest in yourself, ladies and gentlemen, you're in control of that ROI. Not anybody else. You're in control. And that might cause fear in itself. Right? Because hey man, let's be real. Most people rather just follow the system of what somebody else has created than to create their own, right? Because it's a little bit tougher when you create your own, right? So that's why, even with my clients, I kind of take them through a series of different things to where now once we create something, we create a goal, and they actually accomplish that goal, now you just created an ecosystem. Because now you know it works, right? So think about, let's go deep for a minute. So think about corporate America, right? The reason why corporate America is so successful is they created a system for hundreds of years that work, because time and time again, they're proving that this system works, okay? The reason why it's a little bit difficult for people to not just leave corporate America, but build a bridge to their own thing. Why? Because if they did it for them, they could do it for themselves, is they haven't tested their system. Just think about it.
That's good.
When we create a system, those of that's listening out there, when you create a system where you put something in and you get an output, guess what you just did? You just proved that your system works. Because somebody either purchased something from you, purchased a service or a product or something, and then on the output, they paid you for that. That's a system. Products and services distributed every single day of the year. Now all you do is, how much quantity can you handle? Right? So now, I said it from a simplified place, but there's a little bit more detail that goes in there. But the simplicity of it is, once we establish that and we get past the fear, and this is all about making decisions, now we have more choices. Garcia, what you say about that?
Yeah, totally. And it goes back how it's funny how all this confidence of in the system allow you to make other decisions and bigger decisions. But that practice have to come somewhere. And a lot of times what I tell my clients is, let's start with the small decisions. Where are we going to eat tonight? Make a decision. I know all of us has been, in that relationship. Hey, what do you want? No, what do you want? What do you want? Sir. Be able to make the decision. And guess what? Over time, you got to become self-aware. And let me step back a little bit. I like to take my clients through what they do, find out where they're self-aware. When you really know yourself, what your triggers are with you and what your superpowers are, it makes it a little bit easier to know how you're going to respond into a situation. So when you know you got to make a decision, now you're aware that you're going to respond some kind of way, and you're going to bring down the anxiety and lean forward into that, and have confidence in your system. And when you do that more and more over repetition, the confidence come in for the bigger decisions, and also being able to put that time limit on. If I don't make a decision in this amount of time, I got to just go back to the research I've done and go with my best guess.
Yeah, and I like that, because in the coaching system that we were in, we was always taught that just make a decision, right? And we were told why, because most people won't, right? Why? Because done is better than perfect when perfect never gets done. I think sometimes people stay in that state of fear because they want to be perfect. Versus going and making that decision. You could take Nadira and myself. For those who don't know, Nadira and myself, we kind of conversed one day. I did a Facebook Live. She responded. I picked up the phone. I called her. We talked about some things. That day, Garcia, that very day, at 7:00 that evening on a Sunday, we actually went live on. We probably started on StreamYard. I don't even think we started on.
We did.
Went live and created a show that day.
Wow.
Not worrying about being perfect, just really focusing on the people and just getting it done. Right? And then as time goes on, you get better. Matter of fact, when we first started, it wasn't even called Dealing with the Coaches.
Yeah.
We didn't even have a name.
Didn't have a name.
Just went live, just to talk to people about experiences and help them in different areas. We had, a little bit more people on. And then Nadira was like, hey, got a name? Dealing with the Coaches. Right? So we weren't trying to be perfect. We stayed in that vein of we have something for the people. Well, inside of that, when you put that first, ladies and gentlemen, the decision-making part becomes necessary, right? It doesn't become optional. I think if you don't understand that why, it's optional if you're going to make that decision.
That's good.
But when you know and you understand the intent, making that decision is a necessity. It's not optional. Because we have lives in the balance. We have lives. I mean, this is the seriousness of it for us. We have people's lives that we're talking about. So that's not a game. You know what I mean? Yes. And sometimes people don't understand. Like, if you make that decision to hire a coach, not only can you impact your life, like Garcia said, you can impact the lives that your creator has assigned to you. See, that's a little bit different way of thinking about your gifts. Now, I'm not going to get deep into that, but I've been in that vein of your gifts versus your talents, or your gifts versus your skill. Ms. Nadira, you have anything?
Absolutely. I agree. I think the point that you made about when we first started, not looking at, I think that's what every business owner should do. Focus on, when your focus is on the people. Think about it. Most people, when they start, they don't even know that it's even going to be a business. Because they're in the servitude, they're serving people with their gift, right? And then they realize, oh wow, I have something here. I can use this as a business. Where some people start out, I want to do this, and they start out with, I want to create a business before they even serve the people. And so they become. Then what happens is you get more into the I got to have it perfect mode. But if you notice that when people just start out just serving people, they realize, oh, can potentially be a business. And then they start to do the other things on the back end. We need to really make sure that our focus is on the outcome of the potential people that come to us for change, and make sure that we do our own development, so that we're not allowing our own fears, insecurities to interfere with the process of us helping other people. Because guess what? We're going to have clients that's just going to be straightforward, and they may have been in places that maybe you haven't been at, but that doesn't mean that you don't have the ability, right, to be able to still help them. Because and it's funny because, and I'm going to mention Eric Thomas again, because this was awesome, right? I take a lot of nuggets from him. And he said this. He said he was in the midst of a bunch of people. And he said, this person, I think it was Warren Buffett. It was some other people. He was like, this person over here is a millionaire. This person over here, what they need me for? You know, like I ain't got nothing. Like what they need me for? And then he realized, wait a minute, I'm here because I have something they don't have. And I think when we understand the value of what we bring, and sometimes you might have to just do that. Before you start going out and trying to coach other people, you need to figure out, what is my value? What do I actually bring to a person's life? And sometimes you might have to just go to people and say, hey, you know what I do? You know, what is it? What are some of the things that you have seen or noticed in my coaching or in me doing business? Take those things and be able to and stand on them and be like, I have something to offer. I have something to give to the next generation. You know, there's something that's on the inside of me that apparently everybody doesn't have, because I'm unique. I'm different. Nobody else is, you know, you have different people that have different gifts according to the grace that's given to them. But you have to think, this is the mindset. You have to think, I have something she doesn't have or he doesn't have. And this is what I'm going to give to the potential, to the world and to my generation.
That's good. You know, and that's one of the reasons I actually started my coaching business. And I didn't even realize I wanted to be a coach. Something can't touch me, you know, because a lot of times in the military, we see people with a ton of gifts, with talents, and their vision is just going, what's that next job? And they miss the opportunity to serve others with those gifts and talents that they were given. And it's something hit me to sit here and say, how can I help them identify, pull back, and identify what those gifts and talents are that they'll feel comfortable with to create their ideal life. And so it was easy for me to come up with the name Career Life and Entrepreneur Coaching, because it's balance in that. It's true balance is when you understand your career, when you understand your gifts and talents, it makes it better for your life. And not just you, because you are a servant leader, but for your family, because you're going to smile when you see them smile.
Wow. Yeah, that was key. That was key. You know what I mean? Because it sounds like you had a heart to serve. You know what I mean? And you led by serving. Right. And then you backed into a business. Right. Yeah, you backed into a business. You know what I mean?
Business.
Yeah. Yeah. That was very, very, you know, commendable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you still have a heart to give, because, you know, again, we commend you for serving our country. You know what I mean? Like,
thank you.
That in itself, you know, and we're gonna have you back with Coach Tyke, because we're gonna talk about those two things, because I know you guys do a whole lot for people in the military. So stay tuned, everyone that's listening. Mr. Dira, what do you say about what Garcia just said?
I think it's true. I think when I listen to people like Coach Garcia talk about development, being in the military, his training he had to prepare his mind to think. When you're in the military, you know, I've never been in the military. I did ROTC. I think is the most military I've done. I wanted to go in the military, but you know, I had a baby, wasn't able to go.
You probably did that because you was in trouble. That's why you did that.
I did. Like, I wanted to go into the Air Force, or I wanted to go in the Air Force or Navy. I was a Navy Navy ROTC, but that was my plan. I wanted to go into the military, but I got pregnant. That just didn't happen the way it was going to go. So, you know, it is what it is. But I think what happens is being in the military, you're in an environment, right, conducive to change, because in the military, you have to change whether you want to or not, because you're required, because of the environment is requiring you to change. You have sergeants and you have people that are there to make that condition you to say, hey, look, you can't stay in the military with the same mindset. So that's why it's the same way in business. You have to place yourself around, especially if you feel like you're a coach or you're in business, you have to put yourself around other people, right? So that you can be conditioned. You have to be a part of a community of coaches, or get with a coach and around people, even mentors, however you want to call it. If you want to be able to survive and thrive in this particular arena, you have to position yourself so that you can change your mindset. You can't go into this type of business of serving people in any aspect without being in the environment to help you change your mind, because it's not going to work. You'll do it temporarily, but then you won't be consistent. We've been doing dinner with the coaches for almost a year now, and we've been consistent with it because our desire is to bring change to the average business owner, whether you're a coach whether you're just an entrepreneur or aspiring coach, the goal is still the same, is to serve you and show you how your gifts can make room for you and bring you before kings, right? And we've been doing it every Sunday. We come up here and we do it, and we bring guests on the show, and we do it with the same enthusiasm as we did last year, because the vision has not changed.
Yeah, amen. And that's a key point. Oh my goodness, so we almost at the top of the hour, boy. We almost at the top of the hour. We're gonna go see. We're gonna let you have the final words. But what I want to say is, I wrote down here, I think in the onset for the last 2 years with COVID, I think you really have to be more flexible to change.
That's good.
Right? Think about that. I think we got to be more flexible, because our normal is no longer normal. Right? That
changes by the day.
It moved. Right? So now those things that we used to hold on to in the past that kind of edified us.
Wow.
I think we're in a position where we have to be a little bit more flexible, because I had a conversation with somebody today earlier, and we was talking about how today and yesterday, how a lot of people are not going back to corporate America. Right? What for, especially in that restaurant, hotel, that whole service industry, a lot of them are not coming back. Oh yeah, it was my neighbor who was talking that a lot of corporations and companies are having a hard time finding good people to hire.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Because there's more people, starting their own businesses now. Right? So when you're talking about decision and making a decision, I think we're in that era right now where we're more flexible now. Before COVID, we were more rigid, right? Like everybody was on this path and this is the way it was going. Boy, when COVID hit, rocked the whole world. Everybody started to get a little more agile, start bobbing and weaving a little bit, like, whoa, okay, hold on. I don't just have to stay on this straight and narrow path any longer. Absolutely. And I think that's the benefit of coaches now, where you see the internet is really flooded now, but I think it's necessary, especially with the mental state of America right now, right, with the uncertainty. Garcia, boy, we gonna let you wrap us up, or we almost at the top of the hour. And when we finish up, just stay on. We kind of do a little bit plan to do a review, deeper dive after the call. But what do you have to say to the people? Thank you for spending some time with us here at Dinner with the Coaches.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. And again, I just want to say to your audience, when you sit here and you have that decision that you need to make, write it down. Don't worry about how you're being judged. Set your time and just do it. Nike said it best. And the pandemic has woke us up to say it's human nature to resist change. No, it's human now. The new things, it's human nature to adjust on the fly.
I like that.
So it's been a pleasure. I look forward to coming back.
Human nature to adjust for the people in the back.
Wow. Guys, this is amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach Garcia, for joining us here on Dinner with the Coaches. We appreciate your presence as always. Make sure you subscribe at our YouTube channel so that you can be notified every time we upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching. Join us here every Sunday at 7 p.m. with Dinner with the Coaches. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing night.
That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Hey, coming down. down like precipitation. I ain't never met a limitation. Hate applying my elimination. Gotta go to Google.
Stop. I want it, I got it. 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 I want it, I got it.
IBG Careers is looking for customer service representatives to service their clients from home. If interested, please apply at www.ibgcareers.com.
Let's work. Yo, it's go time, showtime, never backing down time. One shot, yo, make it count, yo. Crunch time, shine time, make this moment my time. Get a grip, yo, ready, set, go. We bring the thunder. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's go. Bring the thunder. Let's work. Bring the thunder. Let's go. Yeah, it's my time, yo time. Step into the spotlight. Get lit, yo. Let yourself go.
On how to create content videos that pop, which means I'm going to show you how to take your creativity and how to combine it with the right tools to be able to create a video that your audience will love. It's not so much the video that makes things pop. It's your creativity. It takes your creativity, your unique gift in certain areas, combined with the right tools to produce the results that you need. Your audience is attracted to you. Your audience is attracted to your energy and your vibe. And I'm going to show you how to take that energy and vibe and put it in a video so that you can be able to market whatever product or service that you have. So, do you need a coach? Do you need help in the area of life and business? Get coaching from a team of experts here at Dinner with the Coaches with Thomas and Nadira. Inbox for more information.